I want to get this video out. So I don't care if I'm not fully in the frame. Burnout, productivity, creativity, creative blocks, writing blocks. I don't know what I titled this video, but that's what I'm going to be talking about. So, the project that you're seeing me work on, because I'm not in the frame, so hopefully I just have B-roll to cover almost this entire video. This project I have been working on for years. The book that I'm about to release, World War Marlowe, I started at least 5 years ago. I don't know exactly when. And then I have this other project that has the very first character that I ever really attached myself to, and I just love this character. I've been threatening to put out content about them for years. Procrastination and doubt absolutely riddled me, and every time that I start working on this project, I immediately get burnout. It doesn't seem to matter what I'm doing differently. But this time, I'm excited to work I'm excited to work on it. I am. And so I want to tell you guys the 3 things that I am doing now that I think is what's making it so that I'm excited to do it and not absolutely stressed about it, because I stressed myself out about it a lot in the past. So on that point, my first one is taking away the pressure and just starting. So what you see at the beginning of this video that I'm playing right now is I got motivated. I was just listening to a motivating song and I was like, I'm gonna work on this. And I just sat down and started working on it. And I started batching my things together. I'm like, I know that I need to make YouTube videos, I need to make TikTok videos, and I need to make blog content. And so I just sat down and I started filming everything as best I could. And as part of that, I knew that what I was making wasn't the best possible content I could make. But the reason why I've been stressing and not putting out content is because my content hasn't been seen by very many people, which is great because most of it's not very good. And so I'm getting feedback from the few people that are watching while I'm making bad content and getting practice on that content. And so what I mean by this is I've been not making YouTube videos because I've been stressed about people not watching them, but they're not very good. So why am I stressed that people aren't watching them? As my quality increases, so will my fan base naturally. And that's one of the things I was concerned about with releasing my book is like, oh, I don't have a big enough platform yet. No one's going to find me. No one's going to like my book. It's just going to suffer and die. It doesn't matter because it's the first book that I'm going to release, and I'm probably going to live to at least 80. So I have years to write much better books than that. So I'm taking the pressure away from myself. I've gotten a lot of advice and encouragement from some podcasts I've been listening to. The Right Now podcast, WRIT, for you writers. There's a bunch of like being boss and entrepreneurship podcasts that I've been listening to, and those will be in the description if you want to listen to podcasts. I put them on while I'm cleaning or driving, and those helped teach me to take the pressure off of myself. And so my new rule is as soon as I'm motivated to do something, I will do it immediately. I will start drafting it, and if I can get myself to do a draft, then it's much easier for me to get myself to do the real thing later, and I already have a plan. That takes us to step 2 is taking your first step immediately, which comes with as soon as you take the pressure away. And if you don't know what your first step is, that means your first step is setting a goal and creating a list of steps. So you see me open up this big sketchbook that I'd been writing in earlier, and I have this whole like chart thing that is from a book that I really like. It'll also be in the description, The 4-Hour Workweek. I don't like a lot of the book, but I really like this exercise that he does called dreamlining. And it's where you plot out, if everything were to go perfect, what you would do in the next 6 months and the next year, and how much money it would take, and this and that and the other thing. And based off of those goals that I set for myself, then I was able to say, okay, well, what's the first step I need to do in order to start doing this thing? You might also see that on my desk is the 7-minute difference, and I think it's also been called the 5-minute rule. But essentially, you should dedicate time. So if a task is going to take you less than 5 minutes, do it immediately. And then you can dedicate at least 5 to 7 minutes a day to do one task on your list. So if every day you're working on one task for 7 minutes, you're going to be making more progress and you're going to be building momentum. And there's some days where you're going to start and you're just going to be like, I only have 5 minutes. I'm just going to work on this for 5 minutes. I'm not super motivated. And then you start working on it and you end up working on it for an hour like I always do. Let's move on to part 3. Because my last video was like an hour long and I want this to be fast and easy and actually helpful. So when you have burnout is always caused by a very specific set of things. If your productivity is suffering, that means you're borderline on either you don't have goals or you're on borderline burnout. If you have writer's block, that means you don't have a goal in place. And so for me, creativity stems from knowing what the next step is, because if I don't know what I'm doing next, it's really difficult. And so usually just getting started will help you figure out what the next step is going to be. So by doing that first step, you then, one of my favorite quotes, I have a drawing of this, maybe I'll put it up. The first step is what will build the bridge to lead you to the other side. You have to start taking that step. You have to start putting out that content, even if you don't want to, even if you think it's bad. And I know that when you have burnout, it's incredibly hard just to put out that first piece of content, just to get moving. And so with your crisis plan, and I know that it's super dramatic to say crisis plan, but that's essentially writing down for yourself, what are the signs that I have burnout? What causes my burnout? What do I do when I have burnout? Can you take time off of whatever it is? Can you make more time in your life? Are there other things in your life that need more attention? And specifically, I want to go back to goal setting with this, because a lot of the times when I get burnout is when I can no longer clearly see my goal. And so then I usually will end up climbing the ladder up the wrong tree. And so I'm just moving in the wrong direction away from my goal. Like I'm trying to make progress. I'm trying to force myself to do it, but I can't because it's all wrong. So redefining your goal, making steps for that goal, getting the energy just to make the first step, a 5-minute step, and breaking it down into those 3, 5, 7-minute long tasks so that you can start building momentum. These are the things that for me increase productivity. And then with your crisis plan, if you are in your burnout crisis, if you are suffering, if you are depressed, you need to talk to your friends and family about it. Like, just do. I try not to, and then I end up depressed for like 6 months and running away to Japan. I'm just going to keep repeating myself. If any of this isn't clear, leave me a comment. I just want to get this out because I want to help people, and I'm motivated right now, so I'm going to try to edit this tonight, even though I'm like sick. Hope that wasn't too bad. And instead of ending this video by telling you to click on one of the things on the screen or go check me out on my TikTok that's steadily growing to way too big for the kinds of videos that I put out, I want you to close down YouTube, close down all of your social media, and go and write your goal list and make your first step. With that, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.